the flashbacks to the CS days and just being like, oh, Scream's gonna be pop flashing, Scream's gonna be hitting headshots, Scream's gonna have an Scream is gonna have an ultimate that can deny anyone else from using abilities. That just means that Scream's gonna win the round because no one else can actually do anything against him. This is gonna be beautiful.
We got Browns right outside waiting for the push that was being attempted by Team Liquid. The pistol round already sees Vitality getting a plant down as they just rush in through bat, wall it off, and now pull back for the post plants. Team Liquid gonna need to do a lot to battle against this, having already used up that knife. Post plant utility is gonna be online to work with, Tom, and well, this is gonna buy them a lot of time on the Vitality side.
This is already becoming a little bit awkward, but actually, the snakebite coming through from Cryptics will at least be able to... What is that, Crosshair? Get that out of my face, Link. Get rid of that. Now, I saw like tweets going around about crosshairs and like things he would be using. That is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And you know what? He got killed for it, so I'm almost glad with that one. Soulcast, Yumpy, they're doing the damage though, but the time has been ticking for an awful long time, and Sender and Shalabi have gone through. There is nothing that can be done by Yumpy, and it will be the first round for Vitality. Now, that is one of those strats, Mitch, which I'll be honest, I've seen quite a lot in my matchmaking game, so I don't know how many times that will realistically work.
Yeah, for a pistol round, it's really, really strong, though, because that wall, it takes so much utility to break that. If you have a raise, you can blast pack it if she's close by. Otherwise, you're shooting, you're knifing. That gives them plenty of time to get that plant down. And you saw Vitality take advantage of that faster strategy, use the post plant and the pistol because they'd invested into the utility, and they got their reward for it here. Liquid, maybe if they had have had some success on that push down through A mid, they would have been able to actually get themselves a counter to that play by seizing the control behind, but instead, well, they ended up like sitting ducks on the site waiting for the push to come through. Now it looks like we have a little bit of a technical timeout right off the bat, my hairless hombre, so we're gonna have to have a little bit of a chit chat, but that's fine, because honestly we got plenty to say on this. And the first thing, Tom, I'm gonna throw your way is sort of the pacing of using a KO. Now, the interesting thing, and we had this conversation, I was talking with Dream, C9 White's coach on Valoranting last night, and he brought up a lot of great points about how KO is being basically misused by the majority of teams right now. And as time goes on, I expect that to be fixed, but for now, he's kind of slot in. He's playing kind of an off-brand duelist with the pop flashes. His knife is kind of used on tempo with the rest of the utility. But the point that Dream brought up, which I really, really enjoyed hearing, was that for the most part, the way around works with refreshable utility like Sova's Recon Dart, like now smokes in some instances, like flashes from Sky, you'll use them and you'll wait for them to regenerate. So the first
just
pulse,
insta.
Exactly, right? You pop them out, you get a little bit of map control, and then you hold off a bit. So that's kind of phase one of the round. Phase two is sort of either claiming more map control, faking, or pushing a site. And that's where you have the utility refreshed up, you pop your recons, your flashes, and you go up for more combat. Now, during those parts of the game, it's actually not really where you want to see KO being played, because, for example, when you're pushing a site, you use that knife in, they've probably already counter-utility'd, or depending on who you're playing up against, you're not going to be seeing that utility being used. Instead, they'll be pinking you. Maybe you stop a flash at most. But in using it off-brand and in stopping them from finding information, stopping them from retaking map control over on the defensive side, that's where you can find a bunch of value from off-tempo KO play. And so far, I don't think I've seen any team do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, again, it has been similarly to what you sort of mentioned. It's like, I'll throw it at the beginning of the round, and then I'll wait. And the other thing as well, I've seen lots of coaches, players in general talk about this, is like, teams can then just work the timing out. Like, realistically, you can just go, okay, well, he's used this. I've got X amount of seconds before he's going to have it again. So we can kind of just chill and hold on to our utility until then. That's why you see a lot of teams having really late round utility. So we're going to be getting back into things. Enough of our little chit chat about, well, Mitch thinking that everyone's using KO wrong. Tell that to Scream to his face, Mitch. And we'll see if you survive.
Well, we haven't seen Scream playing just yet. This is the first time. That's why I'm saying I'm hoping there's going to be some big changes in what we see from KO. But for now, it's a very weak buy from Team Liquid. They lost the pistol. They come into this one with some scraps they've managed to put together. And for the most part, we expect them to get rolled over. The objective for them is to find kind of 2 or 3 kills. And they've already got one on the board with Sender dropped. But Shalakbi's quick to take down Link. Oh, Scream So beautiful. 2 little one-taps in there. And already, this is a decent round for Team Liquid. And they'll even see if they can find some more on the exits.
Yeah, he's got his knife back available. Could at least give him a little bit of extra information, especially with the rotation coming through from Soulcast. But he's not going to get anything. Well, for now, it seems like Scream's just looking to play the exits. Also, dying to the spike here. It might seem a little bit silly when watching it on your screen at home, like, heh, Keck, Scream, noob, died to spike, but he doesn't want to give them any extra ultimate orbs or even the finances they grasp off it. So being that low, chances are you're not going to do any extra damage unless they put into his crosshair. So it's actually the smart move to make. So we are going to see 2-0 for Vitality. They are also one of those teams at the moment, Mitch, where I feel like they're most scary the second that momentum gets rolling. Like we saw it versus Heretics, where it just looked like every single player was popping off. Brams was having a ridiculous performance, and it just got to the point where they were just steamrolling Heretics in the latter stages of the day. So Liquid are going to want to break back pretty quickly, and they are going to have an investment here. I'm still looking at that Judge, though, in the early rounds and just thinking, where's that going to be played? So I want to keep an eye on the Judge.
That was interesting. On the start of the round, you have Viper throwing the Poison Cloud through the teleporter, opening up the doors of Recon, which ensures nobody pushes into those doors and also clears out middle. With that, Team Liquid have quite a bit of information, and they're using the wall instead of the typical kind of walling off B for the retake or through the TP. They're using this to actually cover the bathroom walkout as well as middle control. That's really smart and a great change to their Viper setup. As well, Scream playing the KO. One quick point I want to mention is this guy's typically been the entry, and for me at least, KO isn't really the agent you want to be entering, especially when he's got his ultimate online. He can be pop flashing, he can be suppressing people. I don't really want to see him on that front line with ulti pop, so I'm curious to see how things go. And they've actually got a bunch of info from the knife he just threw out, suppressing some players and allowing the rotates to come in, but oh my god, the plant gets completely destroyed. We said when you've got pistols, you can't really break the walls, but it's very different when you've got 3 rifles ready to spray away, and they are just dominating Vitality as they attempt to make it out of this choke point with the spike down in the open. Round's pretty much done.
Yeah, Bram's trying to get across just to make sure he at least has a rifle in this fight, and if anything, it might just be worth saving into the next round. For Sender, he's going to want to die. Like, there's not really anything worth saving here. He'll have enough money to buy into the next round anyway, so for Brams, as said, holding onto the rifle would be great, making things a little bit more costly because this is currently a flawless round, but this is sort of what I said. Like, that's one of those plays that you see it in your matchmaking games. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to put out some utility. Like, maybe there's a few extra pieces here and there, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason it doesn't work that well in competitive play. Team play, that's the main reason it doesn't work. Just everybody spamming through the wall, no defense to actually hold on. And also, the problem, especially when coming from bathrooms, you can't really cover your teammates because it's a very narrow choke point. So they made that one a little bit tough for themselves.
I think it makes sense in the round that it was to try and roll that gamble. If they get the spike down, then their weaker weapons, their Spectres, their Ghosts become much more valuable in the face of these Vandals, not having to take range duels in taking the map control as well. It's a good strategy, but I think that's probably the last time we see it used.
IMP. Good spot. He's going to win the opening duel. The question is there a fallback from here? In fact, doesn't even feel the need to. He's going to use his Owl drone to try and find out a little bit more. Someone who's definitely been advancing his agent pool, it seems, since Masters. Like we saw him on the Killjoy at least, and before that, obviously the Jet main. But it seems like he's definitely started to put that extra time into Valorant. We know that he's sticking around at this stage. Link seems to be almost on that Judge only, but then again, I think it was him and Vanity at Masters where I almost became physically ill with how many kills they were able to get with this gun.
Well, Tom, I have to say, you know, with the Judge in hand on defensive side, hookah holds are nigh impossible to get through. Solka's showing off, but not getting anything. I was going to say, you know, this is the Sky that we've been ranting and raving about, but he is shut down. And this is a plan for Vitality in a 4v2 that looks pretty much unlosable. It really is a disgusting crosshair. I think, you know, Zelva, if you want to just not show anything from Link's perspective, I'm okay with that.
You know when you were a kid and you would like fold the paper, and then you would like cut it and it would come out like a snowflake? I felt like he somehow managed to do that with his crosshair. Like it's one of the weirdest looking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I do not enjoy looking at it. I'm not gonna use a judge with that. It's like pinpoint precision. But look, at 2-1, Vitality pick up another round, push themselves on to 3. Little bit of a hiccup when it came to the bonus round, but they have battled back beautifully. And you also have to take into consideration, Link is, by the looks of it, not... Oh, he actually does just about manage to grab the rifle at the last second. So they managed to get out with 2 Phantoms, but that doesn't put Team Liquid in a good position at all, Tom. When a team bounces back like that and shuts you down, it's going to put your economy on its last legs. And I think they're very lucky that they got away with so many players alive in the previous round, because they should be able to buy up here. But this is going to be, you know, credits going all the way down.
This is where crunch time comes in, and more interestingly as well is you kind of look at the ultimates across the board, and sure, there's a few being built up along the way for Liquid. Like, you're not that far away from a Viper's Pit, which especially on Bind, we know can basically just lock off one portion of the map, especially going into mid or the showers as well. We see a lot of teams just basically look to hold that down completely. And then also on the other side, you could say the same. I think the res as well coming up for Loki, like we know how much that can change around, especially if he can start to pop off, because it's been a bit of a weird one with Vitality. Just in general, when you look back through the history of this team, like you can go all the way back to teams like Null Penky, where I remember Vac being like this star jet, really aggressive operator player, like doing ridiculous amount of damage. And now we've seen interviews with him saying like, I don't care about being a duelist. I don't care about that. I don't care about using the operator. He just wants to win. And we've now seen nearly every single member of this team play a duelist at some point. So they've definitely been testing the waters. This definitely seems to be the best form I've seen Vitality in. If they beat Liquid though, Mitch, I think that's the statement that starts dragging me towards, okay, this team can actually qualify.
It's the funny thing when you see somebody who's playing a duelist swap onto another role, saying that they might not know how to play that is... or like out of their comfort zone for the most part, it's almost disrespectful to the player, you know? These guys have got a lot of depth to them. I don't think there's any top tier professional player in the top 10 of EU that sits back and goes, I play Jet, I play Prim, I cannot play anything else. I know these guys know how to play absolutely everything.
I will say, I feel like Vac does it better than most. That's the credit I will give him. Like, I don't think I've ever watched Vac play an agent and gone, maybe that's not the one.
Yeah.
Every single time I'm like, oh, he's sick at that one. But he can also play Sova. Oh, but he's also pretty good at Jet. But he's also... And I'm just sat there like, okay, man, like, can you stop flexing on us, please? Yeah. Can you pick one and, like... can make my job a bit easier? I'm going to have to list every agent as one that you could potentially play. For
someone like Vac, though, that's been a necessity in this game, because he's been tossed around between so many different rosters and mixes that you better be able to play whatever. Because you don't know what your teammates are going to be picking up this time next month, or who your teammates are going to be, but hopefully find a good home here in Vitality. Speaking of Vitality, they're getting the plant down on the A side. Some early skirmish towards Bathroom that didn't quite go Team Liquid's way, in the same on Long that we saw on Cam. Puts Vitality in a pretty strong position, and with Team Liquid's economy as scrappy as it is, 2 players having no cash to buy up. In fact, I think it's Yampy and Sulcus that have no cash to buy up for the next round. It makes sense that these guys are going to look to save these weapons and drop over their teammates coming into the next round, especially if Link is going to be keeping that judge. But this is where you need to now become much more reflective. We've seen a very different Viper setup come through on the A site. We've seen the judge hold on Hookah. We have seen the KO playing inside of Lamps and popping that knife out on contact. And so far, Tom, with the exception of the bonus round, there has been very little to say about this default setup from Team Liquid. It has not been successful in Vitality. I wouldn't even say that they're like countering it. They're just beating it. Like, just
they're being patient in a lot. Like this round was just them holding a default. Like they were just waiting for people to aggress. And one of the things I wanted to bring up was when it came to the defensive sides in Challengers 1, I would say in a lot of cases they were actually pretty decent from Liquid, but I wouldn't really call them a defense. Like we saw Scream basically use that Jet as a very aggressive like agent, just playing and then dashing out of positions and finding them so many openers that a lot of the time teams couldn't recover. So that's not an option anymore. They can't do that anymore because there's no quick escape. There's no agent that can just get them out. It has to be based on team play. And that was actually some of the things that I think Liquid were a little bit more lackluster in. On some of their attack sides, you have Scream dash in, get an opener. He dies, no trade. And that was always the thing I was kind of looking at. Like, this doesn't seem like Team Liquid. This doesn't seem like the team that was challenging at Masters and finished in that top 4 spot. So I know Sliggy's been on them for sure. But again, these aggressive plays, they're not working. These are just easy openers for Vitality, and in most cases, it's not even a trade.
Yeah, interestingly, in an attempt to take more aggressive bathroom control, but obviously they have that wall there to play for the fallback. They've switched it up in the Viper setup on the A site, so that now the plan is usually that player in bath takes the fight, hides in the corner afterwards if they get a kill or just manage to get out of there alive. The wall goes up and they fall back. Alternatively, you can get the orb control if you don't spot anybody there. But that early map control that they're poking for ends up with Yampy dead, and now Vitality are capable of pushing into this B site. They have got 3 coming up on 4 players, and they're exclusively pushing through long here, Tom. They're avoiding that judge completely from Link until the very late round when we're going to see Sender lurk through here. Solkus opens this one up, but leaves Scream in a position. Scream's looking good these days. Jeez.
So good.
And he's going to be taken down right away, and now the site is theirs. This is a disaster for Team Liquid, and a very polished attack from Vitality.
Yeah, they're looking really good. They're trading on point. Entries working out as well, and even using a little bait res, and they're going to get killed with a blast pack. That's not something you're going to see every day.
Didn't even activate.
Liquid are just getting owned. Like, these are the sort of like miniature plays as well from Vitality. Like, the fact that, as said, using the res to just bait one of the final players into peak. They had the spams coming through the back of the wall just to isolate some of the jewels, and on the entry, it almost just looked a little bit too easy. Vac coming in with 3 kills, and yeah, I don't think they've really broken a sweat so far. No. Like, this is a match where we were expecting Vitality to be pushed to the limits. As I said, like, I've seen a fair few of their games. I think they've looked good, but I was waiting for them to face off against the top opposition to see if they were going to be able to match up. Thus far, it's looking like they're doing even better versus the top teams.
There's the knife to completely counter the ultimate. It means he has to pop it super early. Can't blast pack to sight. Can't afford to even aim, really. As soon as you hear that knife activate, you have to fire that showstopper or it is going to be canceled out completely. Now, with that counter underway, Vitality lose a lot of the push that they wanted, but they've seized hookah control for what feels like the first time, and I think Link is going to be upset that he didn't have that judge in there that he has in every other round. The push through the smoke, not quite going according to plan. Scream is waiting and taking them down. Vitality have only Sender, the previous lurk and slow player for the post plans, now in a 1v4. A huge clutch needed to pull this one off, or Liquid will be seeing 2 on the board, and you can see these players grouped up inside of hookah. They've got the spike on the floor. They know Sender is on his way, and Scream is primed and ready to pop that 4K. 5-2 we go. Team Liquid finally, in a way, having an answer. I will say they won the round, but I don't know that they figured out Vitality's default play. That is, coming into this round, where I will be worrying for them.
Yeah, they beat the 4 players trying to jump through a smoke strat, which I don't want to harp on Vitality, but was that ever going to work? Well, they needed that pop flash to be one of the best things I've ever seen.
If Scream had not have went into the corner, if he had have stayed holding that smoke for his teammate, he would have been blinded up. Shalakbi probably would have taken both of them down, and then the side is theirs. In fact, I think Vitality would have won that round if Scream was 3 centimeters to the right of where he was. But the positioning was perfect, and if you give Scream a micro opportunity like that, he will capitalize on it every single time.
Yeah, 3 centimeters can be a lot. It's just depending on how it's used.
Motion of the ocean, baby. That's what it's all about. Vitality, they're starting to move into a much slower play than what we saw in the previous round. No longer directed towards a straight push through hookah. They're not going to die on that sword this time. Instead, they're lurking towards the A side. They're waiting for that Team Liquid aggression that so far has been the downfall. But Tom, Liquid don't feel the need to aggress. They're playing much more passive now. And, well, I guess it's a success because 50 seconds in, they still have all their players alive.
Yeah, I think the thing as well is this Viper's Pit is a direct counter to what we've seen so far. Like, the B long control has been something that Vitality have been fighting for in the majority of this map. So to just lock it off completely, not allow them any space, it's a good call. However, Vitality they're just going to try and go in the other direction. And I don't really blame them. And then the thing is, a lot of teams now have started to almost counter that counter of the Viper's Pit by pushing through it. So Liquid can't actually dedicate other players over. And it's going to be on to Solkas here, who's playing a pretty audacious angle. He's going to try and break the wall. They're doing this strat again, Mitch. And now they have their own Viper's Pit to cover it off.
This could be a little bit dangerous, man. I mean, when you're running into those Viper's Pits, you're losing all your HP right away, and no amount of suppression can really make up for it. Vitality have got the edge. A flash through the smoke is good for someone holding close. Ooh. Did he just get wall-banged?
Yes, he did.
Oh my, and the ultimate's now gone down.
This is so
hard
ratty.
post-plant commitment. This is disgusting to play against. Solkas, though, catches Sender off. The time isn't too far gone just yet. If they can actually manage to lock them out, they've got it. But there's the orbital strike just in time. That might just have saved the round with Shalafi, the last player alive. He's holding off inside a bat. The blast back doesn't work. They can't get there in time. A wallbang headshot delivered, but it's not enough. Team Liquid walk away with 3.
I think if he lands on that blast pack properly, he wins the round.
Yeah,
like, it's so brutal. Just you see him just bounce up into the air so slightly, and it's like, oh dear, this has gone wrong. I do have to give credit where credit is due. Liquid played this in the only way that they could. Like the fact that they managed to get so aggressive in behind. If there's another snakebite falling onto that, that round is over. So yeah, sure, it ends in comedic fashion, but.
I love
they played that well.
Absolutely giant picture of Shalefi just staring at us while the replay's happening. Looking straight into Camisol.
Don't look at this.
Link finally has the opportunity to use this judge. They've spotted it and they are out of there real quick. You see that immediate reaction. Hey, Shalefi's going to be happy that his blast pack worked that time. Link actually avoids any damage from all of this utility that's flying his way. Yampy picks up another opening. This is Liquid looking a lot better in the early rounds, even finding some upgrades on weapons. Vitality need an answer now.
Yeah, this was a round where financially they had to take a risk. They had to play more aggressively. I have to say, I'm really loving the poison cloud through the TP, because it not only it weakens the players as they push into the judge. So if there was any chance of survival, they're now even more screwed than they already were. And it seems like getting the openers, well, now they're just picking them apart. A much more passive gameplay after winning those duels. Shalabi, though, just, I don't know. I get those feelings that at any moment he could just explode onto the server. And after the last round, who knows? This time, not to be.
Spike down A.
Oh, that's so unlucky.
I did enjoy you saying a much more passive play. And I think the second that you finished that part of the sentence, Solkas ran at them and died. But no, yeah, in general, very true. And Solkas 9-6 right now. He really is one of the best guys in the world right now. If not the, like, this guy, his turnaround. He's playing
with an injured hand as well.
True, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that.
How's he almost flicking those hawks around corners when
I saw that, yeah, yesterday was, I think, the first day that he was recovered. And I don't even know that the recovery was full. So the fact that Solkas is here playing with an injured wrist, Tom, that's a very good catch. That I don't know how he's still so damn good with that weighing in on him. I
think he's got the worst agent as well for having an injured wrist. Like, because you literally have to, like, flick the hawks round the corners. So, like, it's like left and then right. And it's just like, that's literally the worst agent you could play if your wrist is injured. I can't think of anything even close to as bad. So, maybe if he just is Scream because of the flick headshots he seems to get. But I don't think that's really an option when it comes to agent selection. I would like to be Scream, please. I'd pick that every week, to be honest.
Yeah.
That would be my go-to choice.
Pick that in all my matchmakings.
Maybe I'd hit a few headshots here and there.
Well, 5-4, Tom. A tactical timeout for Vitality has just come to an end. And I'm curious to see what their adaptation is going to be. This wall is a big fake wall from the attacking side of Vitality. You put this down because it means that the guys inside of Lamps probably aren't going to face without help from their teammates. When you have a Sky, though, on the other side, it's quite likely they pop that flash down mid and seize the control. But in fact, Liquid skip a step and they just rotate over towards the B site right away. They don't believe there's anybody floating outside of that A site. And so they're going to have a 3-man stack that Vitality are still looking to push into.
Yeah, they pinged so many players. Like, they've got so much information ability now with the combination of Sova, Sky, and of course KO, that they pinged 2 players outside of the site straight away. And realistically, you have an idea that probably someone missed it. It's Link. This is bold. He's going to go straight through. Shalabi's just waiting on the other side. Just like, I don't think that's going to work, bud. An easy kill for him. Doubling up the fact that they've already got the opener. This round's looking a little bit more rough for Team Liquid.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the earlier round fights have been the downfall for at least the first couple that we saw Vitality get on the board. Here, Cryptix is able to fight back and holding off against this sort of fake A aggression. He's burning up some of his utility. Could definitely come to play later on. Yampy's dead. He's wishing he was on the jet right now, able to dash out of that slowed, naded shot. There was nothing that didn't hit him right there. And with Scream and Cryptix being the last 2 alive, locked out of the site, and in a 2v4, saving is probably the right choice.
Not really going to be much that they can go for in this sort of scenario. It is quite surprising to me that, as said, like they got the pings outside of sight. They got themselves so much information in terms of where Vitality actually were. And then still, not only did they lose the opener, but the plan is then to try and run through the smoke. Now, I understand that there was a Hunter's Fury in combination with that to try and clear out some of those positions. But I don't think that it was put through the smoke. So they didn't know if there was anybody actually behind that. So it does seem like a lot of the rounds or a lot of the aggressive plays that Liquid are making are much more 50-50 than I would like them to be. Like, these are moves like, okay, I'm going to take a risk here, I'm going to take a risk. And we've seen it just a couple of rounds ago work perfectly, like pushing in towards bathroom, finding that opening pick. But it's still ultimately a 50-50 duel. And when you're the defenders, I don't know, I don't really want you pushing into those sort of battles.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Oh, look, another one of this. I didn't even notice the molly was on him as well. Oh my god.
And
they
the
really
slow.
committed
That's
to taking
filth.
that man down. I mean, when you're slowing and mollying or slowing and nading, the guy's already dead. You know, you can put one of those bits of utility somewhere else, but they just decided to hard nerf Yampy, and I suppose I can't really blame them when you look at how important this guy has been for a lot of the victories. This is a very different approach. In fact, they're going to sneak into the TP.
Oh, that's sick.
The adaptation, using the same utility, the predictability round on round, and then switching it up that tiny bit. This is what top level teams do. It looks like Vitality are suspicious. They haven't seen, actually they have seen this smoke down before. It was used in, I think, the second round when we saw, or maybe even the pistol, when we saw the recon go through to be mid. So I wonder if they're going to suspect the TP play. Surely you don't. No, you really don't.
Yeah, no, the information already getting too much for them though, but Link's gonna hear everything here. And with the poison orb down, that is just that extra little piece of the puzzle, just going, well, okay, there's normally someone behind this. They are actually watching this. Like, if you, I think it's Brams was keeping an eye on this, but now the push, he's expecting it, but it doesn't matter. Link has got the timing perfect. He uses his own orbital strike to clear the players in front of him, and now just 2 players on Vitality remain. This is such a sick adaptation.
Ratty gameplay is exactly what you want to see. Loki's left all alone in a 1v4. He's made it to elbow. The problem is they know he's there, and they're more than capable of taking him down. 6-5. We're looking at a potential tied up half. Tom, considering how we got here, the Vitality were leading by quite a bit. I mean, I was feeling really bad for Team Liquid in those first 5 or 6 rounds, and now they have bounced back. They're looking much more comfortable, and you have to ask, you know, for the Vitality side, how is that affecting the mental coming into the next half? If they manage to be equalized and feel like, you know, out of the last 7 rounds, they've only really won kind of 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's been a solid turnaround, and I think that the theory crafting from Liquid has just been insane. Like, these have already, like, if you go and break down just a few of these rounds alone, you already have more content than you probably get from most matches. So it's been enjoyable to watch.
More content than NAVCT.
All right, I see the shade. You're on Valoranting now. You got to try and take down some of your fellow co-workers in that regard.
Regional enemies.
think it's going to be flashback off the angle. They've gone back to this long play, which has been fairly successful, and they've caught out Cryptics, which, well, that's a hell of a lot of utility just gone within a second. Luckily, well, the other Viper's gone as well, so I guess it works both ways.
Yeah, shout out Brahms for keeping that disgusting crosshair alive. I've seen Shadow use it before, and now he is doing the same, but I think Link has definitely taken the cake for the biggest abomination.
The top Trumps battle.
Yeah, that is just ridiculous. He can't see half his screen. The wall up. I don't know if Shalapi was quite expecting that. He seemed caught off guard as he went up above. Loki able to take down Link. It buys them a chance, a small opportunity. Blinded in the corner. On. He's even hit by the squids. Good night and sweet dreams. Spike on the floor, and it's left to Brahms to clutch it. 6-6 we go. Team Liquid tying it up at the half, and a very impressive turnaround on what was a very disappointing start to their defensive side.
Yeah, it was definitely a slow start. Oh, wow.
Wicked updates.
Yeah. 11-3? Who predicted BDS in their thing? Like,
who would do that? Yo, shout out to the people on Twitter telling me that I was underestimating BDS. Yeah. 11-3. Let's go. 10-star
I
actually
definitely don't have them all the way to the lower bracket final.
No, as
I
I
believe
said,
in the comeback.
For me, BDS is like a decaying team. I feel like they really need something new to lift them up, because they have just been slowly getting worse over time. And Gatch added to the roster confused me even more, because who the hell is he replacing? Why is he there? Why are you 6-man rostering? I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I feel like it's a desperation play of a dying roster, let's say. So maybe they can impress me moving into the next maps, but for now, 10-star wrecking them. But we're back into this series with the pistol round going live, and Team Liquid, oh, they are pushing out that B side, but little do they know, Vitality are right behind them.
Oh, no, never mind. It's going to be Link who's dead instead. He walks back around the corner and spots the whole Vitality squad. Yumpy still in play, but they knew he was here. They saw him walk there just moments ago. Sender in a good position, but now they can actually just take control of the defender spawn. The thing is, they won't actually know this. Expecting the full squad to come in from behind, the information garnered by Screen, however, might give them a little bit more, knowing there's still 2 players on long. Loki getting in, and actually he's just going to tap the defuse, try and bait them into position. It's awkward. In fact, he doesn't even get the kill, but it doesn't matter in the end. Vitality, that was a pretty nice pistol round. I like the idea. Completely taking everything away from Liquid in terms of control, and they'll get their lead back.
That they will. Hey, you can be good in the early rounds in the pistols, but I want to see what else you got to offer, you know? Liquid's ability to come back into that late half and look as dominant as Vitality did in the early doesn't fill me with a lot of faith for this Vitality side, but with that pistol round under their belt, they'll now face into a very weak buy from Team Liquid, and this should be somewhere that they're able to survive with the majority of their players. Again, similar to the second round of the first half, Liquid will be happy if they walk away with 2 kills, just removing that 1 rifle and forcing 2 players to force up in the next round. Brahms, that was a risky play to go for the orb without even having that wide swing there, and eventually they're going to abandon that plan.
Again, this round's all about damage. Can Liquid make this one costly? Maybe get a plant? Probably not. Especially not with the position of Sender. Then again, they've managed to take him out at least. Bram's just going to be waiting patiently around the corner, and I still think the chances for this round in general are slim to none. In fact, I thought for a second, might actually get caught here. Peek out, Brams is going to get the quad. And, well, a plant at least will probably bring back some of the credits that they at least paid into this round. But it is still going to be Vitality now, reaching 8 and only losing 1 player.
Not too bad. I mean, especially because Loki came into this one with a ghost. He can drop a ghost or a Spectre to his teammates, and they don't have to make any reinvestment, really, with the exception of armor and some utility. So overall, a very positive round for Vitality and a great start. The foundation's now built to hopefully extend this even further. The buy round for Team Liquid is going to see a lot of rifles. It's going to see full utility, and this is where they can be scary. That's how it's done. Yeah. We don't need to make any more memes about you, Tom, if you can just learn from what you've seen on the screen here today.
You know, I'm basing myself off Soulcast. I'm going to be that Sky main because I can't throw Viper utility, so it's fine.
You can throw games though. That's the good thing.
I don't know. I think you do that better.
I call you the European
randomly
Steel.
going AFK. No, Mitch genuinely the other day walked off because he had put sausage rolls in the oven at the beginning of the game that take 10 minutes to cook, and and thought that he would be able to finish the game before they would be done. So man is a moron. Don't play matchmaking with
Hey,
Mitch.
we won that game, Tom. So let's not be toxic about it, right?
That was probably a Harry hard carry. That's basically what we've learned.
Harry got 35 kills, but that doesn't matter. We won the game. That's and without the sausage rolls, it might have been different. You never know. Pushing out onto the site, Team Liquid are surprisingly going into B and blitzing in at that, giving the opportunities for these Spectres to tear them apart. Orbital Strike is committed, not finding anything, and Liquid getting pushed out here. Cryptics hadn't got a chance. That's a devastating round. Up against the bonus. Hey, if it was a clutch, if it was a 1vx that was won out, then fair enough. But right now, they're 9-6. Vitality lost one player in the previous round. They upgraded most of their weapons for free. This is the best start they could possibly have into this half.
Yeah, and this is the map that, if anything, I'll be honest, I was expecting Vitality to lose. Like, they recently lost it to Wild Multi-Gaming, which definitely a bit of an upset there. And they're on a 3 losing streak. Sure, one of those is to FPX, but losing to Excel as well, who definitely haven't been in the greatest of form. So, again, they've set themselves up as good as they can. They're winning both pistols, getting both bonus rounds, I believe, as well. So, off to a flying start in both halves. The thing is, though, what we witnessed in the last was that Liquid were able to break back. However, the problem being here, not going to be much invested into this round either. Just going to be some pistols. And again, I feel like it gets to the point now where making things costly isn't really enough. They need to actually be doing some serious damage in this round.
Yeah, they definitely do. And, there it is. Right off the bat, Jampy's able to get a second follow through on from Link, and maybe damage isn't going to just be the name of the game. Liquid might actually have a chance to get into this. Now, Link is very low on HP, but you notice Sokus is right next to him. I'm not sure if... Oh, no, he doesn't have the heal online. That's very disappointing. So Link is now kind of hung out to dry in that sense. What could otherwise be a decent round. In fact, they don't even get the rifle. I don't blame them for not going for it, but there were 2 up for offer. The Sheriff play from Team Liquid being stalled inside a bathroom. The mid guys going to be pushing through Viper utility, which certainly isn't the easiest. In goes the knife to stop it, but Cryptics peeks before it's down. Scream able to trade. Shalakby on the site, creating distance using that Vandal, but Link, 8 HP, and a second kill for him in this round. Plant even to come through, and with Orbital Strike online, he can maybe play post-plant, but Brams is pushing him quickly and connecting the shot with a Sheriff of his own. Double digits for Vitality, but Tom, they got a spike plant, they got 4 kills. I think on paper, although Vitality have won this round, that was a pretty solid performance for Team Liquid with just Sheriffs.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they're definitely in isolation. Solid round for Liquid. I think they'll be a little bit disappointed that they didn't manage to close it out, especially in the 2 versus 1. But hey, it was a serious weaponry disadvantage, HP especially for Link in the end. But now we need to see them break back, because again, if you don't manage to actually crush the economy of your opponent, then it's all not worthwhile. If there's an instant return in this round from Vitality, winning it flawlessly, it really doesn't matter too much. And by the looks of it, we're going to see a little bit of aggression. We've got the Operator already into play for Loki, and Sender a little bit too close for comfort.
I like the idea here in the early round for Screen to use his knife immediately, but use it on a high velocity or high elevation, let's say. So the knife goes really high up in the air, and it takes a long time to come back down, meaning that you're refreshing it the whole time. Like, your cooldown is already in effect from the second that you throw it, and then you get a knife down a little bit later on in the round when it's slightly more impactful, and they combine that with the utility they had going in through Hookah. I'm looking at this mid play, and they've droned it out, but not spotted anybody inside of this ulti, which is lucky because Sender was, what, 10 HP at the start of that drone. They're going to throw everything at this man. Orbital Strike's going down. Sender can just step right back in there without a problem, surely. In fact, he's got a free angle where he's not even slowed down. And Team Liquid have committed quite a bunch there, Tom, on what was a gamble that they would get the Viper, and now that they haven't, they're falling back. But why is Center pushing?
Did you see the gun?
30 seconds
I
left.
don't think so.
Oh, I thought for a second they might have actually seen the gun just poking out of the smoke, but that might just be the slight visual advantage we have from observing from outside. The problem is now 20 seconds. 3 players are ready and waiting on the B side. Shalabi heard everything behind. If they make the push through, he's just going to be waiting for them. Easy kills for him, and now the time really is ticking. This round has gone completely wrong for Liquid, and, well, if anything, holding on to the gun might be the best case, because realistically, there's no way they're winning this, and Scream's even going to fall at the end. 11-6. As said, this was the round where they needed to put the pressure on to break the economy of their opponents, and Vitality survived with 4 players.
Hey, not too bad for Vitality. 2 away from victory, and no matter how good Liquid are at those late halves, this is going to be a really tough comeback for them. The start of this half is about as good as it physically could have been for Vitality. Like, every step of the way, they're getting away with murder. The fact that they lost a couple of players to the Sheriffs definitely looked like a bump in the road, but it was nothing more than that, a little bit of an inconvenience. Now they've got plenty of credits stacked up. They've got rounds aplenty. And they're starting to pop off. Shalapi's even fixed his cam, so, I mean, everything's going their way.
Oh my god.
Back blinded himself.
Well, the thing is, though, he's actually dropped Scream. Like, it may still look like this is a 4 versus 4, but then again, they walled it off. Never mind. Scream's going to come back, so it's not really that much of a problem. I guess he's a little bit lucky that he decided to use his ultimate in this round. Otherwise, he would have been dead.
Toxins going up.
It's also worth noting the previous round as well. Sender almost died within the first, few seconds, 19 HP, ends up not only locking off half the map with his ult, but then also helps Shalabi get the other kills on the other side of the map with his screen. So it still feels like that last round was close, even if it wasn't in terms of personnel. 50 seconds left. It looks like they're building towards the A site. At least in this case. But again, it seems like Shalabi is almost just rotating and re-aggressing all across the map just to try and find his teammates' information, give them the pieces of the puzzle that they wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. He did the same in the last round, pushing down mid. This time he spotted absolutely nothing, but if he can catch Link, this is going to be rough. Luckily for them, though, Link is going to win that duel.
Oh, well, down goes Sender as well. So Liquid are just rolling over this site. Brahms is trying to make a sneaky little play, but they know he's been playing around Lamb, so they are clearing him from the front and from the back, with Solkis catching him out. Is Loki going to go for this with the operator? I mean, they have got plenty of cash, but it's a 1v4. You know you're not going to win this 9 times out of 10, but he's going to roll the dice looking for that 10th reality. I mean, even after the first, the second that he finds it, they're just going to push him down and spawn, make sure he can't save this weapon. It just doesn't seem worthwhile. And now you're in trouble, because look at that. Look at the immediate shift from Team Liquid to start running at this guy and make sure he can't get away.
They're going to pincer him.
He's still
Look
going.
Look at Soulcast. He's already running in behind them.
Loki.
So, like, he's got nowhere to escape at this point.
Yeah.
The flash also stuck. Like, he should be absolutely dead here. I don't know how he gets away with anything, and... Really? Okay, there we go.
I don't know if you completely lagged out there, but I did.
I did. Yes,
yeah, okay.
I did.
I was getting very worried, but hey, it worked out in the end. Very strange post-round play from Loki. I don't understand it. Like, let's pretend he kills Scream there. He's still going to die. He's going to be pincered between the Spike and 2 players rushing him. And the #1 objective, the second they hear that operator, is let's kill this guy. Let's make sure that he doesn't save it, because you earn more by saving that operator than you do by dying.
Yumpy's got it now, which...
Well, yeah, exactly.
You've just given Yumpy a free op, which I'm going to go ahead and say, for any team out there, not a good idea. He's pretty good with that gun. So, yeah, we'll see if that comes back to bite them a little bit. If Yumpy gets a few kills in this round, we can tick that off as a yes. But again, it's Liquid now trying to almost scrap their way back into the map. Same as the first half, very far down. I think it was a 5-1 scoreline before they really started to build back in. Ended 6-6. Now, it is very similar in the second half. So we'll see if they can do the same once again, or if there is going to be that same resurgence. Now, as you sort of mentioned, Vitality have still got plenty of cash to go into this round. They also have some pretty damn deadly ultimates, which are going to make things pretty hard to hold on to this site. I am, however, looking at that Viper's Pit, and I'm interested to see how it's going to be used by Liquid. Oh, dear.
Oh, that's dealing a lot of damage. Yampy half HP, Solka's dead. Losing your, basically your primary duelist in this composition, right? With Solkas going down, the Sky is played as a duelist, you're losing your flashes, you're losing information. That is a bunch taken out of Team Liquid's inventory to start such an important round with Vitality holding on the backside. They're going, oh, that's such a good ultimate. The corner's cleared and Brahms is down. One final pulse gonna go out, and that even tags up a couple of players as well. Loki and Sender getting hit by that, and Sender finished off the information Scream had to play with. That is an absolutely incredible ultimate from Yampy that has just pulled Liquid from the depths of despair, really, into an advantageous position with Spike planted and the Viper's Pit to play around in the post plant.
I wonder if Vac expects two players to be sitting this far back. They're so deep within. Cryptic's actually going to fall, though. This leaves Scream alone. He corrects his aim just quick enough to get away from the boombot. The flash, perfect, but it leaves both players behind. They're next to each other, Mitch. And now they're just defusing. He's got an operator. This is the worst gun for this sort of moment. He needs to jump up, and the pistol will be there to close things out. The biggest sigh of relief, not just for Mitch, but for Liquid as well. That was way too close.
I'm
Sweating.
blown away by what I've just witnessed. That was a crazy round, man. And it's not often that you'll see those Sage walls to try and go for the sneaky diffuse on those tiny little angles. It's not often you'll see them work either, but it came very damn close that time around.
This is the most ridiculous Joe I've seen in a long time. Like, Vac blinds himself. It's almost just like a meme of just like,
they
well,
don't
if
win
I
that.
can't see, he can't see.
They absolutely do not win that round if Yampy doesn't have an operator. Like, if he had a Vandal there, he doesn't win that. It takes him like 1 second longer, half a second longer to kill Vac, and then the diffuse is already through. Genuinely, they just lost that round because Loki gave them an operator in the previous round.
Sure. Well, this one is already off to a flying start. Brahms has fallen early. We know how much they've been delaying with their utility. This time, though, it's looking like a much faster pace round. You're going to have the flash in combination with the Seekers, which just forces them completely off of the site. This is a perfect execution once again. After plant guaranteed, and, well, the remaining players just left behind. Now, Vac, he needs to get something at least here if they have a chance.
Indeed, but he won't. They'll be taken down right away. And Team Liquid, okay, another onto Loki. They're looking very good to close this round out. The spike ticking away slowly, as are the numbers for Vitality. But Sender looking to just save this weapon. Potentially. Maybe play a little bit of an exit. Okay, off angle towards Heaven. That should catch Solkas off guard. Little bit of damage. Another ult point ticked up. He's being hunted from behind, but he knows it. He's going to be more than ready for these guys to be on this angle, but Scream's too quick. 11-9. Liquid not letting this one go without a fight. That's for damn sure.
It is somewhat unbelievable to me that Solkas is now he's got an injured wrist. He's been moved into much more, as you sort of said, like he's basically playing like an entry fragger here in a lot of cases, because for Scream to do it, like, he's still Scream, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense with the agent that he's currently rocking. So we're seeing a lot of those pop flashes in this round in particular, running in behind all of his Seekers. He's still wrecking everyone. Like, I do have to say, like, I feel like the development of Solkas when it came to this agent coming into the game was just almost like two completely different players. Like, he's improved so much with that addition of Sky. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried now for Vitality, because I feel like it's almost like, I feel like this time in this half at least, they've almost given the opportunity to Liquid to break back into this map, and Liquid have gone, all right, thank you very much. We're now back on the horse. No pun intended.
No, it definitely feels that way.
Or the prancing horse, if you're Zesht.
The prancing horse, indeed.
I love how he says that. So how can you tell?
It reminds me of the JonTron video whenever he says it as well. I don't know if you've seen the exercise one, and there's a Prancercise, which is a woman who has a DVD of, you know, exercises where you prance like a horse with some ankle weights. It's strange, and probably
After you
not as
said that,
beneficial as
she's
just
gonna
walking.
get signed by Liquid tomorrow. You're gonna see Jonas doing the prancing horse exercise.
He did say he was filming a commercial yesterday, so maybe that was it.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Jonas. Welcome to Prancercise.
I like to prance while I'm learning my lineups.
Oh, I would pay money for that, Jonas. If you release a DVD of you Prancercise, you showing some horse-related exercises, I'm down. I'm down.
Not an operator this time. It's going to be the Marshal. Shot's not going to be connected either. So much utility just holding players back off the peak. Nowhere really to move. Sendai's going to make a play through, though. And this time, the flash is perfect from Vac. They take 3 players down with the Spectres. And everything seems to have fallen apart. Just going to be 2 players remaining. Of course, it's going to be a switch up of weaponry. Actually, a Spectre picked up for Yumpy. He's going to try and hit them back with their own weaponry. And there is a long flank coming in. Vitality realizing, okay, let's sit passive. Let's not give them any of these jewels and look to try and surround them. Yumpy instead going to try and take the initiative. But he walks into the Marshal. And now it's all on to Cryptix.
What a nice shot from Loki as well. Cryptix has got the first, but now he's been spotted, and all they need to do is group up and not offer 1v1 duels, which so far they have not done. Still offering 1v1 duels as Cryptix is now stuck in a corner. The ult doesn't actually hit him. He's still alive, and the 1v1 just about goes to Shalakbi. It will be 12-9. Vitality reach map point, but that one came a little bit too close for comfort, Tom.
I believed. I thought he was about to 1v4 ace. Like, that was an incredibly nice attempt from Cryptix, and Vitality very nearly threw that one away. Like they had the right idea. It was just this small amount of aggression that sort of brought things back for them, and it's slightly disjointed on some of these peaks. So close, a nice try, but ultimately it is still going to be what was a weak investment actually winning the round for Vitality. So ever closer to closing out this map. As said, a map that hasn't looked particularly good for them in the past. So a victory here and heading into the second, which I believe is split, right? They're looking pretty strong on that map. So for Liquid, it's still a worrying prospect, but let's be real. They could still very easily bring this back.
Most definitely. Yeah, we're not going to count Liquid out at all. But one of the most important things for me in looking at this Vitality roster is that they've had their hiccups before. This is a team that, well, Tom, you've been on a lot of desks with me, you've been on a lot of casts with me, and you've heard me insult Vitality as a roster pretty much every time the opportunity came up. You know, I don't know why he was still jumping. That was ludicrous from Brahms to just bait them into that. But Yampi gets him eventually, gets a sweet revenge. Plant can be found, and well, I'm not gonna. First of all, I want to point out that Scream is not the first man in, right? He's popped his ultimate, but he's letting Yampi enter. He's making sure there's no utility for the enemies to play around. Link with a quick 180 catches Vac. Gorgeous stuff. And Liquid here really just playing textbook Valorant when it comes down to this. Holding all their angles for these guys to push back in, making sure that they're harassing any map control that's being attempted. And Vitality have no way back in, really, with the exception of some incredible individual plays that just don't come through. So 12-10 we go. But just to quickly finish that point off, Vitality typically, you know, pretty much since the inception have been a terrible team in Valorant. They've never done anything noteworthy, really. They've not been a contender for titles. It's just been a so-so team of really good individuals, but no kind of thought behind it, it felt like. Now, though, with this roster, they've reached a point where I actually believe in them. And it's worth mentioning they knocked out Wave, Heretics, NIP. This is a damn strong roster that I even predicted to win this series, which I presumed meant they were going to get 13-3'd.
Wait, you predicted them to win? Oh, so that means they are screwed.
Yeah, they're dead.
As is being proven right now. Now, of course, this is just pistols, for the most part. An SMG for Sender, but not much invested. They are playing for the full amount of rounds. 24 likely to come through unless some sort of miracle round. Now, I will say they did win the last round they won with SMG, so not going to hold it off completely. Shalabi forced off the angle, but they are being picked apart one by one, and it seems like Cryptix is well aware of any positioning of these remaining players. So they are cleaning things up wonderfully. A flawless round coming out as well for Liquid. And now it's crunch time, because as said, it seems like Vitality have almost given Liquid a way back in. As said at the beginning, they've now won both pistols, got off to, what, a 5-1 start or something in both halves. So if this now goes the way of Liquid, you almost have to look at Vitality and go, you kind of threw this one away, even if it was an impressive comeback from Liquid.
Yeah, well, most definitely. I mean, in this instance, one pistol round, or in reality, one pistol and a follow-up, going Liquid's way, they win the map. You know, and that's not nice, because early rounds are historically unreliable. You don't typically have teams that consistently win them. Sure, you have teams that consistently lose them, like Fnatic, but you don't normally have teams that win, you know, 90% of their pistol rounds. And when it comes to this series, or to this map in particular, Vitality have gotten quite lucky to have those early round leads, to push themselves into the early half advantage in both halves. But now they have a real test, closing this one out right here, right now, or it's going to be overtime. And in the buy rounds, Liquid have just looked better, and that is a fact. For Vitality, I'm worried. They've got a res, nothing else to play with. Seeker's going to be popped. Orbital Strike is available for Link as well, and I feel like it's going to be put out very early on indeed. Over towards Lamps, and it catches Vac. Down goes Brams. They need a hero, and they need one now. Sender will not be it. Wall banged and hit by Snake Bites, but Jalabi collects them through the smoke, leaving it down to Loki. A 1 versus 2, but a res available, as we said earlier. He's going to slow it. He's going to pop that res, but he needs to cover that player as they come back online. The swing together, Scream does it, flashes there, back 6 HP remaining. He's hunting him down, and he gets it done. That is the map win for Vitality with a defuse. It is 13 to 11, and what an incredible way